Today I'm going to teach you step by step how to make this budget-friendly Christmas wreath. Welcome to Stillwater's Wreath Designs. Come on in. It's been a while since we've made a budget-friendly Dollar Tree wreath, and so today we're going to make a Christmas-themed wreath using primarily all Dollar Tree materials. If you are new to the Stillwater's channel, welcome, welcome. We are all about DIY wreath and door swag tutorials. We've got new tutorials uploading every single week, and so if you like that sort of thing, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and create with us every week. And for all of my friends who have been here on the channel for a while, welcome back. I so appreciate you. You guys, I will leave a full materials and tools supply list for you below in the description of this video so that you can recreate this beauty if you'd like to do so. Of course, I'll also leave an Etsy shop link for you below as well. This will be listed shortly after the tutorial. Go ahead and get your hot glue gun plugged in. I just grabbed the super cute Santa ho 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 sign for our wreath today. And you guys, we typically, if you're not new to the channel, we typically design Dollar Tree wreaths on the 14-inch wire wreath frame. But today we're going to be using the 18-inch frame just because this sign is pretty large. It's just shy of 15 inches long and probably 12 inches wide. So I grabbed the larger frame. I thought that would be better fitting. The first thing we need to do is prepare our sign. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the hanger that came with the sign. We won't be using that, and I'll toss that away. To prepare our sign for our wreath, guys, I'm going to be using 2 mounting brackets. Here is what the top of a mounting bracket looks like and the bottom. And basically mounting brackets are one of the best tools for wreath makers to have in their toolbox. They're just 1 inch by 1 inch square. They've got openings all the way around the brackets so that you can run your floral wire or chenille stems or zip ties through the mounting brackets and then use those to attach your signs and embellishments into your wreath. They're super affordable. I'll leave a link for a package for you below in the description of this video. I'm just going to place one at the top in the center and one at the bottom in the center. Then after I attach my mounting brackets, guys, I like to take my glue gun and just run a quick stripe of glue all the way around the perimeter of that bracket, just to make sure it's got some great strength and stability. Once you get those glue stripes added around both brackets, go ahead and set your sign off to the side so that glue can be drying. While that glue is drying, we're going to go ahead and prep our wire wreath frame. So if you are new to wreath making, guys, this is a wire wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. They're beveled, and so the beveled side is the front-facing side. On the 18-inch frame, you've got 3 wire rings, 1, 2, and 3. You've got several crossbars all the way around your wire wreath frame to give that frame some stability. And the distance between one crossbar and the next is what we call a section. So there's just a little Wreath 101. Today we're going to be doing the poof and double curl method with some Deco mesh. So we need to prep our wire wreath frame with some chenille stems or pipe cleaners. These are just standard 12-inch length pipe cleaners. We're going to add 3 pipe cleaners to each section all the way around our wreath frame. We're going to prep one section together and then we'll speed ahead as we load our entire wreath frame with the chenille stems. So we're going to add 1 pipe cleaner around rings 1 and 2. So I'm just going to come underneath. I'm going to eyeball to find the center, and then I'm going to give the pipe cleaner 2 tight twists, like so, and then point those guys inwards. And so I'm just eyeballing, guys, not looking for perfection here at all. And I've got this first pipe cleaner centered between the 2 brackets. And now we're going to add 2 pipe cleaners to the middle and the outer rings, also centered as best we can. So I'm running that underneath the middle and outer ring. I'm going to give it 2 tight twists. And this time I'm going to point these guys outwards, just like so. As you can see, they're not even. That's okay. We're going to add one more, so I'm running that again underneath the middle and outer rings, eyeballing to find the center, giving that pipe cleaner a couple of tight twists, and pointing those guys outwards. So this is how every single section all the way around your wireframe should look once you're finished. You'll be adding 3 pipe cleaners to each section, 1 around rings 1 and 2 in the center, and 2 around rings 2 and 3. So go ahead and add 3 pipe cleaners to every single section all the way around your wireframe, and I'll meet you back here. Once you've got all of your pipe cleaners loaded into your wireframe, it should look something like this. Then I want you to grab your glue gun. I would recommend putting a scrap piece of paper or cardboard underneath your wireframe. And we're just going to take our glue gun and run a 1/2 inch or so where the pipe cleaners connect with our frame. And you only need to do that in one spot, guys, so I'm just going to go all the way around the middle ring. And that'll just keep those guys from sliding. So take a quick minute, add a 1/2 inch or so stripe of glue all the way around that middle ring where those pipe cleaners meet the wire, and I'll meet you back here. Once you've given that glue a couple of minutes to dry, we'll go ahead and begin adding in our deco mesh. For this wreath, you guys, we're going to use some iridescent solid white 10-inch deco mesh. And again, we're going to do the poof and double curl method. You're just going to need to have handy a good pair of scissors and a standard ruler. And we're going to start on the outer ring. It doesn't matter where we start on the outer ring because at this point, there's no top or bottom to our wreath. So just grab your roll of deco mesh. I'm going to unroll it a little bit, and you want that to be curl side down, not curl side up. So curl side down. And we need to anchor our mesh down into our wreath. And so what I'm going to do, guys, is just take my fingers at the edge of our row of deco mesh here. I'm going to use my thumbs to hold that deco mesh in place, and then I'm going to just scrunch and gather or crawl that deco mesh into my hand until I have a little tail. And then I'm going to take that tail and tuck it back under in my hand so that the raw edge of that deco mesh is tucked away. If you're new to deco mesh, guys, deco mesh loves to fray. So anything we can do as creators to help eliminate those raw edges is always ideal. Once you've got your little tail tucked away, keep a hold of that with your working hand and come over to your wireframe, and at any of the outer level pipe cleaners, go ahead and open up one pipe cleaner into a wide V, like so. Then grab your tail and press that tail all the way down to the base of that V so that it's sticking out on the opposite side about an inch or so. And then we're going to take that pipe cleaner and wrap it around that tail and give it 2 super duper tight twists and point those guys outwards. And we've just anchored down our deco mesh. Now that we have it anchored down, we're going to be making 10-inch poofs. And so to make a poof, guys, you're going to take your standard ruler, place it on your pipe cleaner where you've most recently left off, come out to that 10-inch mark. And again, guys, not looking for perfection. No one's going to be measuring your poofs. You're then going to scrunch and gather that mesh, just like we did a short while ago, into your hand, and then pinch it together, just like so. And then you're going to come to your very next set of pipe cleaners on the lower level, and where you've pinched that together, press that all the way down to the base of the V of that pipe cleaner, and you guessed it, give it 2 super duper tight twists and point those guys outwards. We've just added our first poof. Let's go ahead and add one more poof together, and then we'll speed ahead. So you're going to take your ruler at your most recently used set of pipe cleaners, lay that ruler down, identify your 10-inch mark, scrunch and gather that mesh to create your poof. Give myself some leeway here. And then come to that very next set of lower level pipe cleaners and open it into a wide V. place that poof all the way down to the base of that V of your pipe cleaners and give those pipe cleaners 2 super duper tight twists and point them outwards. So we've just added our second 10-inch poof. Go ahead and follow the same method all the way around the outer ring of your wire wreath frame. And when we get to this last set of pipe cleaners, I'll meet you back here. All right, guys, we've added all of our lower level poofs except for the very last one. So we've got to get our last poof added in, and we're going to connect this last poof right on top of that tail where we started. So just like before, place your ruler down on your most recent set of pipe cleaner ties, identify that 10-inch mark, scrunch and gather your mesh to make your poof. Keep that pinched in your hand and then come over to the pipe cleaners where we started and where we anchored down that tail and gently open up those pipe cleaners. I promise it won't go anywhere. Lay that pinch from your last poof right on top of where we started, on top of that tail. Press it all the way down to the base and give those pipe cleaners a couple of tight twists. And now we've just added our last lower level poof. So now we're going to jump to the upper level and do the exact same thing. However, our upper level poofs are going to be 8-inch poofs instead of 10-inch poofs because we want those upper level poofs to recede in just a little bit so that once we're done with our wreath, this outer ring and all of its pretties really stand out. So to jump our mesh from the lower level to the upper level, you're going to grab your mesh into your hand and we're going to keep it pulled tautly. And we're going to jump to the very next available set of pipe cleaners on the upper level, coming in from behind. No poof, just a taut jump, as you can see here. And we're going to anchor that guy down. So we're pressing that mesh all the way down to the base of the V of this pipe cleaner. We're going to give it a couple of tight twists. And as you can see, no poof, just a jump from the lower level to the upper level. And now that we've anchored that down to our upper level first set of pipe cleaners, we can go ahead and start with our poofs following the exact same method that we did before. We're just going to measure the poofs at 8 inches. So take your ruler, press that on your first upper level pipe cleaner, come out to the 8-inch mark, and again, not looking for perfection, guys. Scrunch and gather that mesh into your hand. Let's get a little bit leeway here. Come over to that next upper level set of pipe cleaner ties, open it into a V. Press that pinched spot all the way down to the base of the V and give those pipe cleaners 2 tight twists. And then point those guys outwards. And you've just added your first upper level 8-inch poof. Go ahead and follow the same method all the way around that upper level set of pipe cleaners on your wire wreath frame, and I'll meet you back here when we get to the last pipe cleaner. All right, guys, it's time to add our last poof on the upper level. So just like before, place your ruler on your most recent set of pipe cleaners, come out to that 8-inch mark, scrunch and gather your mesh, and we're going to add that on top of this pipe cleaner where we made the jump. So again, I'm just going to gently open up that pipe cleaner. And then you're going to lay that last poof right on top of where we made that jump and anchor it down at the center and give it 2 super duper tight twists. So we've just finished adding all of our poofs to our wire wreath frame. And now it's time to cut off our deco mesh. So you want to be careful that you're not cutting any of your poofs. And so I just pull that remaining bit of deco mesh tautly, and I lay my hand between my poofs and where I need to cut, just to make sure that I don't cut something that I don't mean to. I'm going to bring my scissors up a good inch or so. I don't want it to come undone, so I don't want to cut it too close. And I'm just simply cutting that mesh and releasing. On this larger frame, you're just going to have a little bit of deco mesh left. I'll show you what we'll do with that in just a moment. And so I've just finished the first step of adding our deco mesh into our wire frame. And as you can see, we've got some good coverage, but it's still pretty see-through and light and airy. So we're going to put a second layer of deco mesh into our frame, and we're going to do that by adding curls. So let's set this guy off to the side and work on cutting some deco mesh for our curls. So when you choose your deco mesh colors, guys, first of all, just remember that everything I'm showing you today is just a recipe. So certainly tweak it and adjust the colors as you wish to do so. I want my deco mesh to match my sign, and so I'm going to use white, red, and black deco mesh for my curls. So we need to prepare our deco mesh for the curls, and remember, we've got 24 pipe cleaners on our wire frame all the way around, and each pipe cleaner is going to get 2 curls. So in total, we're going to be cutting a total of 48 pieces of deco mesh. Now, that's a lot of deco mesh, guys, and my work area is small, so I'm going to do it in batches. If you've got a closed basket handy or a box, you can certainly cut everything all at once and just, you know, throw them in your box or closed basket off to the side. Otherwise, just do it in batches. So remember, we need 48, and we're working with 3 different colors of deco mesh. So we need 16 pieces of the white, 16 pieces of the black, and 16 pieces of the red. And we're going to cut these at 10 inches in length, guys. Let me straighten up my edge here first, so we have a nice clean line. By the way, if you are new to wreath making and haven't yet seen a rotary cutter, this is a rotary cutter. It's basically like a mini pizza cutter, and it allows you to cut your deco mesh quickly and with nice clean lines, and really helps to reduce that fray. These are super cost effective. I'll leave a link for you below. And then I'll also be using this self-healing mat. However, if you don't have the self-healing mat and the rotary cutter, just go ahead and grab a ruler and your scissors, and that will work just fine. And all you're going to do, guys, is cut 16 pieces, in my case, a total of 48 in any color combination you would like, of 10-inch pieces of deco mesh. So get those 48 pieces cut, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, guys, I've got my 10-inch pieces of deco mesh cut, and it's time to add the curls into our wreath base. So let's do a couple together, and then we'll speed ahead. So again, every single set of pipe cleaners on your entire wreath frame is going to get 2 deco mesh curls. And to make a curl, guys, it's super easy. I would recommend that you have a chip clip or a clothespin handy, and I'll show you why. So to make a curl, you're going to lay your piece of deco mesh in your work area, curl side up, and you're simply going to roll that piece into a cylindrical tube. Just like that. So it's probably 1 inch or so in diameter in the middle, and then of course it flails out. Once you roll that first tube or curl, you can then pinch that with your clip and sit it off to the side. Grab your next color, do the exact same thing. Roll that guy into a cylindrical tube, like so. And then you're going to grab that first one that you made and just lay them seam side down into a loose X, and come to any set of pipe cleaners on your wreath frame. Place the center of that X all the way down to the base of those pipe cleaners and give them 2 tight twists, just like so. Let's do one more set together, and then we'll speed ahead. So again, you're going to take your 10-inch piece, your 10 by 10 inch piece, I should say, of deco mesh, lay it in your work area, curl side up, roll that guy into a tube, pinch it in the middle with your clip, set it off to the side, and grab your next piece. I decided to mix some green in, by the way, and again, roll that into a tube, just like so. Then place one tube on top of the other, or one curl on top of the other, seam side down, into an X pattern come to any set of available pipe cleaners and press that guy all the way down to the center of those pipe cleaners and give them a couple of tight twists. That's all there is to it, guys. So go ahead and add 2 curls to every single set of pipe cleaners, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, you guys, I've got all of my curls loaded into the wreath frame. So there are 2 curls added to every single set of pipe cleaners, and look how much fuller that made our base. So now the diameter of our wreath base is coming in at 26 to 27 inches in diameter. You guys, I want to take a minute and show you something. I actually had hoped that this entire wreath could be a Dollar Tree wreath, and so I grabbed some of the Dollar Tree Deco mesh, and you know that I've used it from time to time here on the channel, but quite honestly, I don't know if this was a bad batch of mesh or what the situation was, but it literally frayed horribly as I was trying to make my bundles ahead of time just to check the quality, and so that's why I went with a Deco mesh that did not come from Dollar Tree. You're welcome to use Dollar Tree Deco mesh. It won't be as full, of course, because it's only 6 inches in width as opposed to 10. Hopefully your local store isn't having the same fraying issue, but I just, I wanted to be honest with you and show you what I had experienced with my local Dollar Tree's batch of Christmas Deco mesh. So that's why we didn't use that for this tutorial. All right, guys, so let me show you the next step of the process. We're going to be adding some ribbon tails into our wreath. So remember, we've got 24 sets of pipe cleaners all throughout our wreath base. We're going to reserve one of those upper level pipe cleaners for a larger bow. So essentially we'll have 23 tails that we'll be adding in. And we're just going to add one ribbon tail to every single pipe cleaner. I'm going to use all 1.5 inch, let me turn these around, guys, wired ribbon that match our sign, and we need in total 23 tails. So we're going to cut 8 of 2 of them and 7 of 1 of them. And we're going to also add some black Deco mesh tubing bows on top of those tails that are the red and white polka dot, and just those red and white polka dot. I thought that would give a little bit of extra character, and it will tie in Santa's black boots and some of the shadowing on the toy bag and the sign. So I'm going to cut 8 of the first ribbon, 8 of the second ribbon, and 7 of the Santa ribbon. And we're going to cut those tails at 10 inches in length. And let me show you a quick way to cut your tails, guys. Just lay your ribbon out, and either with your self-healing mat or your ruler, whatever you have handy, go ahead and identify that 10-inch mark and then just pinch it with your finger. Again, not looking for perfection. And then you just fold it accordion style onto itself the number of times that you need to for the coordinating pieces. And again, we need 7 of these Santa pieces. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once you have the total number of pieces you need, that worked out good. Go ahead and cut off that remaining bit of ribbon. And so you've got this accordion stack of ribbon at the length that we need. And then I'm going to make sure those ends are married up. I'm going to angle cut. You could also dove cut. So to angle cut, I'm going to come down about 1 inch or so and then cut up diagonally to the corner. And then I'm going to flip that ribbon stack around, make sure those ends are married up nicely, and do the exact same thing. So then what we were able to do really quickly, guys, is measure out all of our ribbon tails for the number of pieces that we need and trim our ends the way we wanted to in a quick fashion. So go ahead and do that for all of your ribbon types so that you have a total of 23 ribbon tails cut at 10 inches in length, and then trim your ends, and I'll meet you back here. Now that we have all of our ribbon tails trimmed and ready to go, let's get our Deco mesh tubing pieces cut. We're only going to need 8 pieces of this because we're only going to match it with our red and white polka dot. If you've never worked with Deco Mesh tubing, by the way, this came from the Dollar Tree. It's basically just like standard Deco Mesh. It's just in a tube form, about the width of a standard pencil, maybe a little bit wider. And what you don't want to do when you work with Deco Mesh, guys, is pull on it because that makes it go flat and kind of takes away that form. So as you work with it, just let it lay organically in your hand. And we're going to cut 8 pieces at 20 inches in length. So once you measure that first piece, you can just use that as your guide. And again, don't pull on it tautly, just let it lay organically. Cut 8 pieces, and then I'll meet you back here. Now that we've got our ribbon tails and our Deco Mesh tubing pieces cut and ready to go, let's go ahead and grab our wreath base and bring that back to our workstation. And what we're going to do, guys, is add 1 ribbon tail to every single pipe cleaner on our entire wreath base, except for 1 on the upper level. At this point, our wreath doesn't have a top or bottom, so it doesn't matter which set of pipe cleaners on that upper level you leave empty. Just make sure you do so. We've got 3 different ribbon types here, guys, and so I'm just going to go in a pattern all the way around my wreath base. Let's do 3 together, and then we'll speed ahead. I'm going to start on the lower level, but it truly doesn't matter. So you're going to grab 1 single piece of ribbon. You can either identify the center by eyeballing it, or if you're more comfortable, fold that guy in half. And then that line, or that crease, is your center. You're going to pinch and pleat that in the middle of your ribbon. Fold that into a loose V over your thumb. And then you're going to come to any set of pipe cleaners and add that guy in. Just place that middle piece all the way down to the base of that pipe cleaner. And give that pipe cleaner a couple of tight twists. And then using a good pair of scissors or some small snips, you can trim off that excess bit of pipe cleaner because we won't be adding anything else in once we get our tails added. Then I just take my fingers and poke that little nub, just kind of tuck it back and under, and I fluff out my tail. And by fluffing out a tail, guys, I just pull it into a V shape away from the center of the wreath. And now I'm going to spin the wreath, move on to my second ribbon type. Again, I'm going to eyeball to find that center, pinch and pleat, fold that into a V over my thumb, come to my very next set of pipe cleaners, add that ribbon tail all the way to the base of those pipe cleaners, give them 2 or 3 super tight twists, trim off that excess bit of pipe cleaner, and then just curl that pipe cleaner nub back under out of the way and fluff out that ribbon tail. All right, let's move on to the next. So now we're going to do the red and white polka dot with a Deco Mesh tubing bow on top. So just like before, guys, we're going to identify that center, pinch and pleat, fold it into a loose V over my thumb, come to my next set of pipe cleaners, place that ribbon tail all the way down to the base of that V, give it a couple of tight twists, and now we're going to add a Deco Mesh tubing bow right on top of that before we fluff it out. So you're going to take your piece of Deco Mesh tubing, and remember, we're not going to pull it because we want it to maintain that shape. Take one end and lay it in your hand so you've got a couple inches of tail, and you're just going to make a figure 8 like so. You want a tail on both ends so that it doesn't come undone. You'll pinch that guy in the middle. You're going to add it right on top of that red and white polka dot. Give that pipe cleaner 2 or 3 tight twists and trim off that excess bit of pipe cleaner, just like we did earlier. Fold that little nub of pipe cleaner back and out of the way. and fluff out your ribbon tail, and then just let that figure 8 or that deco mesh bow lay as it wishes. We're going to follow the same pattern all the way throughout our entire wreath, guys, with the exception of one pipe cleaner at the upper level. Make sure you leave that empty, and then I'll meet you back here. All right, you guys, now we've got all of our ribbon tails and our deco mesh tubing bows loaded into our wreath base, and look how stinking cute this guy is coming together. Adorable. So hopefully you've left one set of pipe cleaners on the upper level empty for a bow. But the next step is we're going to add our sign. So if this were a clock, guys, we're going to add our sign in the bottom right hand quadrant, or half I should say, since it's a pretty large sign. And then we'll be placing a bow over here in our empty set of pipe cleaners. So remember, we added those mounting brackets and glued them down earlier. They're nice and dry. I just grabbed some 16-inch lightweight floral wire stems that we'll be using to anchor this guy down. I just folded it into a V to identify that center point. And I'm going to run that through my upper bracket, give it a loose twist or two just so it doesn't slide out, and then we'll do the same thing with the lower, folding that guy into a loose V, running that right through the bracket and giving it a loose twist or two. And now we'll anchor this guy down. So just determine where you want to place your sign. It can be to the far right or to the central right. And then run those floral wire stems down directly right through your mesh and around the frame of your wreath. And I'll meet you back here. Let me just show you real quick here, guys. If you can see, I have poked those floral wire stems through, and if you have the availability to do so, it's always nice to run it on opposite sides of a cross beam. It just helps that guy to keep from sliding. I just do a couple of loose twists to hold it in place. I flip it back around to make sure it's where I want it, and it is. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Once you're happy with the placement of your sign, go ahead and flip it over one more time and give those floral wire stems 3 or 4 tight twists. You want it at about 80% tension so it's nice and secure, but you don't want it so tight that it recesses into your wreath base. And then you can snip off those excess bits of floral wire. Then I just grab my small needle nose pliers and I kind of curl those ends. I pinch them together and then I curl them back into our wreath, just so it doesn't poke us when we grab it, nor does it scratch our door. And then I run a tiny 1/2 inch bead of glue right over that wire bit and the frame. And I'm going to spin this around and do the same thing on my second wire. Now this one I wasn't able to get around a crossbar, so I just have it close to a pipe cleaner. I've given it 4 or 5 tight twists at 80% tension. We'll trim off those excess bits and then pinch the ends of that floral wire together and just curl them back into the wreath so they're not poking us. And then I'll just run a little dollop of glue right over that wire and that chenille stem. We'll give it a couple minutes to dry. All right, guys, our sign is attached down and it's looking super cute. I'd just like to take a minute here and pull those ribbon tails and mesh curls out from underneath that sign that inevitably, you know, get tucked away while we're adding that guy in. So stinking cute. So let's add a super cute bow down into our pipe cleaners. You guys, I've already made this bow off camera. I actually made this on last week's Christmas bow tutorial. I'll link that for you below so that you can make this. It's super easy. It involves hot glue, so it's a great beginner bow. And we're just going to tie that down at this set of pipe cleaners. All right, guys, last but not least, I've got a handful of these 1-inch lime green and red pom-poms. I've also got some mini 1-inch white ones. I'm going to sprinkle these throughout the wreath. And to attach them down, guys, you just need to put a full squeeze or a dime size amount of glue right on your pom-pom. You could also use jingle bells. And add them in right on top of where that chenille stem or pipe cleaner tie was that we trimmed off, kind of at the base of those ribbon tail V's. Press them down and give them about a 15-second hold and move on to the next. I'm going to just sprinkle them throughout. I'll probably put, a dozen or so. We'll see how that looks. All right, you guys, this beauty is finished. How stinking cute did this turn out for a very affordable Christmas wreath? I hope you enjoyed creating with me today. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my little channel to grow. Thanks for spending time with me today, friends. Happy crafting.